over back-to-school plans for Meade students, and we'll share what the school district is saying tonight and what your options will be.
After the first rainfall in nearly a month for some areas in the inland northwest, temperatures are dipping down into the 50s and 40s tonight.
Then we hear Governor Jay Inslee's plan for long-term care facilities in the state and why it could be easier now to see your loved ones. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us here tonight. I'm Regina Ahn. The Meade School District will have both in-person and distance learning in the fall. Here's what that plan looks like right now. Grades K through 5 will be in person, and grades 6 through 12 will have hybrid instruction of in-person and online. But the district says there will be options for distance learning for those not ready to go back to school buildings just yet. Also happening in that meeting, the district says they will discuss on Monday whether to delay their start date. Right now, Meade School starts on September 1st, but they are considering pushing that back to September 13th. Again, that discussion will continue on Monday. And you hear tonight, Deer Park School District holding a community forum and releasing its plan for school this fall. They will be offering two options for students. The first is an in-person hybrid model. Students would be able to have in-person classes on a rotating or split schedule, and for the days students are not in person, the district is planning on sending students home with work for them to do. They also plan on having kids from the same household who choose this option to attend the school on that same day. If families decide to attend school in person, kids will be required to wear masks the entire time while they're indoors. They'll also have the option for families who don't feel comfortable returning to in-person classes to go fully online. They said in the forum that online learning will look much different than it did in the spring. They also said they're planning to resume school on September 2nd, but may have to push it back a few weeks to get this plan in place. The board will be voting on this plan on Monday. Spokane Public Schools releasing new guidelines for schools in the fall, along with new options for childcare. Option 1 is for schools if they do open. Right now, it's completely distance learning model, but if schools are allowed to open, students can start in-person classes with this option. It will be led by teachers from students' current school, which will allow them to return to in-person classes when it is available. Option 2 is for families who want to remain online for the entire school year. This option will be led by Spokane Virtual Academy teachers, and this allows students to have the same teachers throughout the entire year. And there will be regularly scheduled interaction with teachers and other students to build a learning community. Now, these courses would be self-paced, but there are different versions for K through 8th and 9th through 12th. SPS also announced that childcare will still be available while schools are closed. This will be providing a full SPS Day camp, which families can register for. And they're also partnering with community organizations for learning centers in grades K through 8 that will be open for about 2 to 3 hour periods. They will continue to provide express childcare for before and after school as well. And here at KREM, we are committed to helping you navigate through all of these changes happening this fall. So for more information on these risk factors, you can text the word schools to 509-448-2000. Well, here are your other top stories for tonight. Spokane County is reporting the largest spike in coronavirus cases since the start of this pandemic. Spokane Regional Health District reporting 175 new cases of coronavirus today. Spokane County now has a reported 4,302 total cases. 5 new deaths have been reported. 46 people are currently in the hospital. Big Sky has postponed their football season until the spring of 2021. Eastern Washington and Idaho are members of this conference, and this is big news nationally at the FCS level as well. And with the Big Sky moving play to the spring, now 50.5% of FCS teams are still on the play in the fall. Now, the NCAA said on Wednesday that if less than 50% of teams in the division are not playing in a regular season, then postseason play will not occur. Brenna Green will have more on this decision later in our broadcast. Well, if you have any red onions in your pantry, Idaho health officials are telling you to throw them out. That's because they've been linked to a salmonella outbreak, and right now the outbreak is infecting 663 people in 45 states, including Idaho and Oregon, and the outbreak is likely linked to the California company Thompson International. The second stimulus deal could be made tomorrow. August 7th is the last day for about a month that the House and the Senate are both scheduled to be in session. So when can you see the money? The head of the U.S. Treasury, Steve Mnuchin, says almost immediately. But if the deal doesn't get done until after the month-long recess, it might be mid to late September before you get that first check. Early indicators point that it may be $1,200, just like last time. And turning to weather now, definitely a change today, a lot cooler out there, and we even saw a bit of rain. Thomas Patrick out on the Outdoor Weather Center for us. So Thomas, did we see rain for the first time in 36 days?
Yeah, that was the key statistic that I discovered leading up to today's rainfall. It was just a little bit, but it is the first time it rained since July 1st at Spokane International Airport. Of course, that's where our records are being held, and that's where our observations are coming from, down below 60 degrees as of this moment. And I actually like that word, Regina, change. That was what we felt today, not just with the rain, but the cooler temperature is now coming into play. The wind's starting to calm down tonight. Check out where we're going to stand by tomorrow morning. These are the low temperatures just at around sunrise, 51 in Spokane, but plenty of 40s across the map. Definitely a bit of a shock. It's not record-breaking cold temperatures, but it will be rather cool, especially considering we were in the triple digits just last week. But of course, that for high temperatures. Rain out of the way, save for a little bit near the Ione, Kettle Falls area, and maybe up towards Bonner's Ferry. That for tonight, but tomorrow it's right back to the sunny skies, but a bit on the cool side with our highs only in the 70s. Hopefully just a one-day thing, especially if you're somebody like Regina. I'll show you just how quickly we'll warm up beyond a cool day for our Friday all in just a few minutes.
I like warming up. All right, Thomas, thanks so much. Well, good news for family and friends who have loved ones in long-term care facilities. Phased reopenings will be implemented starting next week. Now, care facilities will reopen based on factors such as their outbreak preparedness and whether staff or residents have tested positive for COVID-19. And facilities must go 28 days without someone testing positive, and they also need to have a 14-day supply of PPE. Governor Inslee said this plan is in place to reunite friends, families, and loved ones.
It's going to mean people have what they enjoy most in life, which is to see the people that they love. And this is good not just for the people in long-term care, but for their relatives as well, because they're just as impacted as the inability to see their loved ones in the long-term care facilities.
Now, this comes after Spokane Regional Health District released this list of long-term care facilities that have seen those outbreaks of coronavirus cases among staff and clients, and more than 240 coronavirus cases have been linked to long-term care facilities right here in Spokane. Unemployment numbers are in from the Washington Employment Security Department. The main takeaway tonight, all claims decreased from the previous week. Well, the week of July 25th through the 1st of August, unemployment claims were down 13.4% from the prior week. Over 650,000 people filed for unemployment claims that week in Washington, and over 2 million claims have been filed since the start of this pandemic. Well, a development today in the push for police reform in Spokane. City leaders held a press conference to announce they will hold formal talks about next steps. But as our Casey Decker reports, real legislation is still a ways off.
Thousands of protesters have marched through the streets of Spokane over the past few months, calling for changes to the way policing works in the city. Demands ranging from more accountability and oversight to reducing police funding and investing that money elsewhere in the community.
What do we want? Defund the police! What do we want? Defund the police!
And Spokane city leaders say they're listening.
It's no longer enough to not be contributing the problem. It's important to be anti-racist and anti-bias and move things forward systemically.
But for now, listening is as far as they'll go. In a press conference, the mayor, members of council, and the police chief announced they'll begin formalized talks with a variety of stakeholders to figure out what action needs to be taken.
With the facilitator, we'll sit down and we'll just go through all of these things and do some deep listening instead of talking past each other.
Working in unity, not hashing and battling this issue out in public.
They say the difference between this and the dialogue that's already been happening citywide is getting everyone together in the same room rather than a series of one-on-one meetings. And they offered up a list of basic philosophies they want to guide these talks.
There are 24 of them that we agreed to that set the ground rules for how we're going to have some honest and some, quite frankly, some tough discussions.
This is not substantive, other than really to say these are the ways we want to talk about it.
But those waiting for concrete action will need to keep waiting. There's no timeline on when these talks could become policy, though Begg says they'll try to conduct them with urgency.
And I want to make it clear that once we have those agreed upon things out there, we will start pursuing implementation right away on those.
Curtis Robinson, president of the Spokane NAACP, told KREM in a statement, quote, "I believe this shows great opportunity and has much promise. Since we were not a part of the conversation, our organization looks forward to being consulted on this and participating on behalf of our communities of color." Casey Decker, KREM 2 News.
All right, a lot more news to come here. Do you think you might have spotted an Asian giant hornet? There is a chance you might be confusing a regular insect with the invasive species. Coming up after the break, the campaign that is educating the public on insects to help us not mix them up.